We are live as we travel the uphill road, coming to you from Black Bottom, #1 Detroit. We thank God that we have survived and now have arrived at the last stop. Living with reality, truth, and consequences.
Or manufacture biological weapons, you can only do research that in the end will have a defensive purpose, not an offensive purpose. And so I wonder if these folks thought they might be crossing that line.
For years, if you even brought up the possibility of a U.S.-funded biolab in Ukraine, you were told you were pushing Russian disinformation.
U.S. officials are warning that this new fake narrative about these biolabs could be Russia setting the pretense for...
You see that right there? That's 2022. I just want to set out and just demonstrate this series of lies and propaganda so that you have an understanding of how we work in this thing, okay? Keep paying attention. Here we go some more.
An attack of its own.
Well, there are public health labs mostly, also animal health labs.
Russia has a history also of inventing outright lies like this, which is the suggestion that the United States has a chemical and biological weapons program, or Ukraine does, that they're operating.
This was the famous Jen Psaki, the original circular file. You know, we'll put it in the circular files. You know, Jen Psaki, this lying red-headed devil. Yes, I called her lying red-headed devil. No, she was lying, and still out here lying today, although not with the State Department. But again, this Russia collusion lies.
Russia is the country that has a chemical and biological weapons program. So the objective was to make clear the inaccuracy of the information, the misinformation they're trying to put out.
Now, until now, evidence regarding the full existence and funding of these laboratories had been knowingly withheld from you, the American people. Many of these U.S. government-funded biolabs.
Now, that is so critical right there. This Tulsi Gabbard, she was head of a DNI, a Department of National something. Investigations. But anyway, this lady here broke stuff wide open. That's why they had to get rid of her. The Israeli lobby had to get rid of her. See, Trump at the beginning, he hired the best people for the jobs. He really did. Well, except two of them. That's Kash Patel and Dan Bongino. Those two are just two of the fraudest, lyingest, enemies of the state, enemies of the people, excuse me. They're friends of the state, enemies of the people that he did hire. But other than that, everyone he hired was good. Pete Hegseth right now, he's, I don't know, he may be on an ego trip, but I thought he was good too. But he's turning out to be a little bit of a war hawk. But Tulsi Gabbard, Joe Kent, you know, he resigned. Joe Kent resigned and wrote openly a letter, you know, telling Trump, don't be going into, you're wrong to be going into Iran, you know. He went against all of his defense intelligence people, the military, telling them, Pentagon, no, don't do this. But he was in love with, Trump fell in love with, or he was brainwashed by, who this guy, Mark Levin. But this Tulsi Gabbard, let's listen to more what she had to say, because I really was impressed and am still impressed with Tulsi Gabbard here.
Are currently or have previously engaged in research using hazardous and highly contagious pathogens, and in some cases included dangerous gain-of-function research with very little visibility or oversight.
And so they tried to deny these were there, but then Victoria Nuland admitted it.
Ukraine has biological research facilities, which in fact we are now quite concerned Russian forces may be seeking to gain control of. So we are...
Stop right there again. Hold the presses. Come on, people. Stop. Victoria Nuland admitting look her up. Look up the name Victoria Newman. Do your research. Do some research. Don't take nobody's word for it. Just do the research. Back this stuff up. Satisfy your intellect. Victoria Newman. Oh, Ukraine has these biological but at the beginning of this broadcast, all you heard was Russia, 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 and it's disinformation. We ain't got this. We're not doing this gain of function. Arrest Dr. Fauci and everybody involved in this madness, in this mass murder.
We're working with the Ukrainians on how they can prevent any of those research materials from falling into the hands of Russian forces.
This should be coming from Todd Blanche. It should be coming from somebody at either some specific part, national security end of DOJ, or maybe it comes from the FBI. Why are we hearing it from the Office of the Director of National Intelligence, who does not have a law enforcement mission?
Here at ODNI, I issued new guidance to the intelligence community directing increased collection on these laboratories and facilities overseas. We're learning new details, for example, on clinical trials that are underway at these facilities and that are raising significant ethical, financial, and security concerns regarding the supposed public health initiatives and U.S. national security.
Bio labs funded by the United States of America.
Kash Patel, FBI, Dan Bongino, Deputy FBI, both of them. Pam Bondi, the Attorney General. We should have known that she was nothing but a Barbie doll, but this Tom Blanchard that was mentioned by, I forget the guy's name with the beard, just went off there, but he'll come back because he's very important. He's an FBI whistleblower. But again, Tulsi Gabbard does not have arresting power, subpoena power, but she's a Defense National Intelligence head. But so she's gathering all this intelligence and she's broken the mold. She's came out and just thrown it out into the public so that we would know what's going on and who's lying. Oh, Matt Gaetz, this guy who was just now speaking here, they got rid of him. Trump wanted him as the Attorney General instead of Pam Bondi. Had we had Matt Gaetz instead of Pam Bondi, that's why they had to get rid of him, because he's not a BSer. He'd have made stuff happen. He would have prosecuted. He'd have prosecuted Fauci. He'd have prosecuted all of these criminals and crooks. So they got rid of him because they had some information on him back in his past when he was with some young ladies and whatever, sex scandal. When it comes to sex scandals and that kind of stuff and the importance of our country, of national security, for real national security, not propaganda, Russia collusion lies. But this was real. But that's why they had to get rid of Matt Gaetz. I wish he had stuck it out.
In places like Ukraine, what's your reaction?
This isn't breaking news. It's great that we finally have confirmation. That's the critical part here. Tulsi, if you'll remember, has been blowing the whistle on this for years, since 2022.
The gain of function research that in the case of the Wuhan lab, as well as many of these other biolabs around the world, was actually U.S. funded.
To call me a treasonous liar was saying, hey, there are U.S. funded, DOD funded biolabs in Ukraine that should be secured because there's a war going on over there, and the last thing we or the world needs is anything going on in those biolabs being unleashed.
They're tacitly admitting, there's a bunch of bad stuff. We're going to tell you what it is, but we're also hoping that that's enough for you. That there's not going to be prosecutions, there's not going to be justice, there's not going to be people who are removed from their offices over this.
It's worse than that. Google, Apple, all of them are still giving money to Wuhan and to all these other bioweapon labs. They're still Bill Gates is still running around behind the scenes. They're still there, active and operating. Fauci openly perjuring himself to Congress. Where are the this is a literal mad scientist, Dr. Frankenstein, running around creating more Frankensteins, and the clock's ticking here. Like she said, this is world-ending crap we're talking about.
They say Dr. Fauci come out and saying, You don't have to worry about it first. And then he said, well, you don't have to wear a mask. But then he says, well, you have to have a mask on. It might be wear 2 masks. Oh, and this Dr. Burke, too. This lady, Dr. Burke, the lady with the scarves around her neck. She need to be hung by them scarves because she's openly admitted lying to the president about this COVID thing. Trump didn't know no better. The president didn't know no better. He's taking people like for their word. And remember, they got rid of all the doctors. They made it illegal to speak against the COVID. They made it illegal for doctors lost their license. People were banned off of all social media, like Alex Jones. Any and every one who would speak up, banned off of Facebook, all at the same time because they did not want the narrative out there. They want to control the narrative, meaning that they control the speech, meaning again that they control what you are allowed to know. So if you're just fed a constant diet of get the vaccine, got to get the COVID vaccine, you know, I'm gonna give you, you can get a cheeseburger, you can get a burger for a vaccine. We'll give you a joint for jabs. I'm gonna give you some weed, smoke some weed. I'm gonna give you a joint for jabs. Good gracious of life. That was de Blasio, the former mayor of New York. Cheese and fries. He was on the commercial eating fries and cheeseburger. I'll give you a cheeseburger and fries if you get to jabbing. Joints for jabs. Was that not a straight up cartoon fantasy going on here? That they forced upon the American people. People lost their jobs, their careers, lives. Not to mention the lives, okay? Whew. Man, oh Manischewitz.
Attack rapidly, ruthlessly, viciously, without rest. However tired and hungry you may be, the enemy will be more tired, more hungry. Keep punching.
I just throw that in there because if you like to, what's the George Patton, one of the general, Patton, World War I or II, do the research, but he was a no-nonsense guy, and they murdered him. Yeah, after the war, they murdered him. Yeah, they murdered Kennedy. Murdered King, murdered both Kennedys. Murdered Malcolm X, you know. Everyone say, oh, the Nation of Islam and this and that. Malcolm X was trying to get back into the nation. Yes, he was trying to get back in. He was on his way back in. They couldn't let that happen. He was the most honorable Elijah Muhammad, his teacher. Malcolm was in the process of writing letters to get back into the nation to his teacher. Yes. Apologizing for his, I'll just say, lack of understanding, immaturity. He was 12, 13 years into the Nation of Islam. So he graduated, he went rogue in his senior year, okay, of high school. The Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan has been in these teachings for over 50 years. More than that. Gee whiz. He's 94, 95. Over 60 years now. Master teacher. That's my point. The last stop. Living with reality, truth, and its consequences. Where you get the actual facts here. And you're implored to do your research. Do some research. You got that this cell phone here, this computer here, not only is it spying on all of us, but it also has a lot of information in there so that you can gather, satisfy your intellect, and even learn how to deal with this madness too. Yeah, it's all in here. Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad taught us that everything you want to know, everything is in a book somewhere. Yeah, it's in a book somewhere. The last stop. Stay tuned.
Truth and consequences.